So, hello, I'm Sveta.
I'm Brian.
Karen.
And we're going to be presenting you about malaria in India and what we plan to do to help that struggle.
So just before we start, I want to give you some information on like how it is in India and why we chose India. So in general, India contributes about like 70% to the total malaria in Southeast Asia. And as you can see on the map, we kind of highlighted the parts with the high risk zones, and further you're gonna see how we're gonna work in like this area, because in general, northeastern of India is considered to be like one of the poorest areas, and that's what we're basing our like decision on. Is we decided to connect poverty in India and to malaria cause. Because in general we know that India is a very like poor country, and I personally went to India and experienced some of the poverty aspects there, and I saw how it's so bad there. That's why we kind of decided to focus on that country, and especially on this area up here. Yeah, so this is our base, why we chose India as our country.
Alright, so I'm going to explain to you what our plan is now. So the first thing that we're going to do is that we're going to hire 5 medical interns and 1 doctor per city, and we're going to be working in 5 cities. And we chose those 5 cities based on the poorest states in India, and we chose the capital of those 5 poorest states. So what we're going to do is that we're going to transport the staff to these 5 cities, and we're going to ally with Hindu temples. So it's going to be a local thing that is like kind of by the people for the people, so we prevent alienation because religion is something very important for the people in India. Almost like 80% of them are Hindu, and they practice it daily. So we are going to bring the staff to these cities, and we're going to purchase ACT medication and malaria nets. So malaria nets are for prevention and ACT medication is to cure. And we're going to train the people in the Hindu temples to give out the medication when it is appropriate, and to teach the people how to use the malaria nets and why they are so important. Just teach them a little bit more about, so the community becomes more aware of the risks that they're in. And yeah, after a month we're going to take out our staff, and it's going to be completely autonomous from us after that.
Thank you. So you're probably wondering, how much is this all going to cost? So as you can see, nets are only $3, ACT medications $1, and we really want to get this out to a lot of people. So you can see all the costs here. Travel, fortunately, is extremely cheap. Getting gas in India is much, much cheaper than it is here. It's probably as much as I wish it was here. Shipping labor is also pretty low, because the average wage in India is also a lot lower. And as you can see, we have the total amount that we would need for the hiring of employees. So the nice thing about that is also for the volunteers working in the temple, we've given them more of a wage than they would normally get. So I feel like that also benefits the temple itself. So the grand total comes out to about $580,000, so it's actually really cheap, which is one point of what I'm also going to tell you, which is why our project. So as I've just explained, it's a really low cost. It's the cheapest project you're probably going to see out of any other project here. It's extremely fast, which means one, less time of like observing like where your money's going. The doctors can get in and out, the med students or the interns can get in and out, and it just saves everyone time so they can go on and do more important things. So in addition to that, it's long lasting. Those nets last for a good couple of years, and also because we have added twice the amount of nets we need to give to the temples for further distribution later on, it actually goes a long way, and up to about 8 years. In addition to that, we're saving hundreds of thousands of people from malaria, and we're also prepared for contingencies because of the fact that we have these extra supplies and also extra funding in case anything happens. So with that, I would like to thank you for your time and consideration for our project. Thank you.
Great, we have time for questions.
Just a quick question. If this is a quick in and out of each city for about a month, and then you're going to leave the locals there to carry it on, how will that part be funded? How will they manage to fund being able to staff the facilities that you leave behind?
Well, you know, the temple is already being funded by themselves, so as soon as we leave, everything would kind of go back to normal, except for the fact that they would have those supplies to distribute as they need to distribute them.
They'll already have the education that we're going to provide to them, like during that month of training or preparation.
So they would know how to handle any situation that comes their way.
How are you going to ensure that those supplies are going to be equitably distributed after you leave? What kind of safeguards and reporting mechanisms do you have in place?
Well, that kind of all. Well, what do you mean by that exactly?
So you leave after a month and the temple is in charge of distributing these supplies. How do you know that they're not just going to give them to their family members and friends and not the people that need them most?
Well, that's kind of the nice thing. Like, how many nets would they really need? I don't think they would need like hundreds of thousands of nets that we would leave with them. So if they want to take like one or two because they have someone who needs the protection from it and needs the ACT pill, that's why we have it there. So if they, you know, I don't know why they would want to take so many, and in addition to that, we've given them the training to distribute, so it's like, I don't think that would be something that could really happen, and if it did, it would literally be so minuscule no one would notice, and it would actually be for the benefit of those people, so.
Yes, and also we can add that we chose temples especially because people there are devoted to like, because religion is really big in India, so people there are devoted to like helping others, and that's why we thought it would be like beneficial for them and for us because they wouldn't like go against God's will sometimes.
Yeah, it's like a community thing that we want to.
Are you hiring local doctors? Are you bringing people from?
No, we're
the-
bringing people from here.
Bringing people.
Mm-hmm.
So do they just need one of these tablets? These ACT?
Well,
Yeah,
they come in a pack of 6. The whole pack itself costs the $1.
Okay,
So you take it over a period of 3 days.
so it's sort of like an antibiotic treatment.
Exactly.
And that totally gets rid of it.
Mhm.
They
Yeah.
already had it.
In 3 days.
Do you have a form of record keeping for after you leave to make sure that just going off of that, just not even just to ensure that the treatments are actually getting out, but just to see statistically afterwards to be able to analyze what you guys did?
Yeah, that would go down in the training as well. So we would keep like a record book with them so they can know who's getting the supplies that they need and how much we're getting out over time.
And after you leave, are you also leaving the ACT treatments as well?
Yes.
And then how are you gonna, so you're gonna train someone to be able to diagnose malaria
Yeah.
once you leave?
Yeah, that's why
Okay.
we're bringing the staff to these cities for a whole month because we need to train the
Mhm.
people that are going to stay in charge.
Well, as I understand, the diagnosis of malaria is not that simple, right? Because it can resemble a cold, and either you need a diagnostic test or you need someone who looks in the microscope at red blood cells. So are you going to provide them with diagnostic tests or these microscopes and train to read the microscope?
Yeah, we could actually totally do that. Fortunately, within the budget, like I said, we put a little extra money in
Mhm.
case of those contingencies. So if that's what we need to do, that's totally fine. We could leave the microscopes there and explain how to use them. So yes.
Great, thank you guys very much for your time. We'll be getting back to you with our funding
All
results.
right. Thank you very much.